Scott, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your art?
All right.
Uh,
I guess I've been doing making metal work for 30 years or so. Went to college and got interested in sculpture. Um, been making a living doing wrought iron metal work, kind of artwork that's sort of flat. So um, basically, ornamental iron kind of ties in well with sculpture. So studied bronze casting and mold making, and kind of got more into fabrication.
where did you go to school?
Sonoma State.
Sonoma.
Yeah, they had a really good program there. There was one of my teachers was Mary Bates. She was kind of this very, not very tall, but very feisty, kind of intense, super knowledgeable about sculpture. Worked at many foundries and kind of taught all the different forms of, from kind of ancient mold making to modern stuff, injection molding, and
Your style is a combination of lots of influences.
yeah. So sometimes I make artwork that's like kind of like made from the beginning, like a basic idea. Maybe I'll do like a wind sculpture or something, and sometimes I'll do kind of an additive style where I put different pieces together. I don't know. I mean, looking at artworks, older artworks from the early 20th century, people when welding was sort of invented, like Gonzalez or maybe even Picasso did some welded artworks that were really cool, like using some found objects. So that's kind of inspiring. Also in Sonoma County, there was quite a few like really interesting artists who I got to meet. This Mark DeSuvero, he was a pretty awesome sculptor who did giant I-beam sculptures with cranes and make these articulating pieces. So they're kind of like windmobiles, but they're more like
Kinetic art.
yeah, kind of a kinetic piece. Yeah. So I mean, the early 20th century, especially when welding was sort of first invented, people sort of like kind of started realizing, hey, I can make artwork in a new way. Not just because the traditional method from the 19th century back was you either carve it out of stone or you cast it in metal, and casting metal is really expensive and laborious, and and it's like,
Can you talk to me a little bit about inspiration? Where do you get these ideas? Do you start at the bottom or the top, or the middle? How do these pieces evolve?
I guess it kind of depends on my mood. Sometimes it's a top-down method where it's like I come up with an idea and I like actually try to make it, and then this piece we see back here, this is sort of like a sort of an additive piece where I kind of take a basic shape and then just sort of like get a form that I like and just keep adding stuff to it, and keep like layering different pieces on, and
It evolves.
it kind of evolves, yeah, over time, till I kind of like.
Do the materials drive your inspiration, or do you look for materials to fit your inspiration?
It kind of depends on the piece, but sometimes you find like a really interesting shape of, like it might be bent or something, and it's like, oh, this is a good form to start with, and then, But sometimes it's like, especially after doing metalwork for so long, it's like I'll take and I'll, actually form the metal to what I want, So.
We're going to be looking at your art, but I'd really appreciate your time,
All right.
and
Sure.
we'll be talking some more.
All right.